Don't sleep on the New England Patriots, even though it's pretty damn easy to. The Patriots have absolutely lost a step in the AFC East. It's probably the Bills division now, or maybe it's the Jets now that they have Aaron Rodgers, or maybe it's the Dolphins, who are also really good. It feels like we've kind of forgotten about the Patriots, and while they might not be as good as the other teams I just mentioned, they're definitely not a bad team. On paper, yeah, they're the worst in the division. But don't forget that New England is a Bill Belichick coached team with a badass defense. And if Mac Jones can actually bounce back in year 3, the playoffs are still kind of a stretch. But New England could very much still be in contention come December. The Patriots didn't play many starters in week 1 of the preseason against the Texans. Mac Jones didn't play at all, but he did in week 2 versus the Packers. We finally got to see what the new Bill O'Brien system looked like with Mac Jones behind center. And the Pats turned in a touchdown drive early on in the game following a botched snap by the Packers that New England recovered. Mac really did make some sound plays. The play to get the Patriots down at the goal line was actually a really nice read by Mac. It looks like an RPO and the box is clearly stacked. He makes the right call not to go to his back and is able to get Kendrick Bourne on the slant. He gets the Patriots down to the 6, and then 2 plays later, it wasn't really much, but it's a play where it looks like vintage Mac. It's second and goal and he doesn't have an open guy, and the pass rush just immediately gets through. So he improvises, which is something he had very little success with last season. He ends up stepping up, finds a little lane, and just gains a few yards before sliding. Again, I know it's not anything crazy, but it's a smart veteran play, and he didn't put his team in a bad spot and was able to set up an easier 3rd and goal. 2 drives later was really Mac's best play of the day. It's a first down, and I kind of love the fact that Bill O'Brien just allows him to cut this loose. Still though, don't even worry about the pass yet. It's play action, and again, the pocket is an absolute mess. Both tackles get blasted from the ends. That's a wild thing to say. And Mac is already under pressure. Not only does he step up into the pocket, but then with the interior coming in, he throws it almost 60 yards down the field to Devontae Parker. He's got 2 guys on him, but Mac throws a nice ball, and it even hits Parker's hands, but he just couldn't grab it. The play didn't work out, but still, that was a really promising sight from Mac there. Later in the drive, I have to highlight this specific play from Kendrick Bourne. For one, his importance to the offense this season is going to be huge. Yes, Juju Smith-Schuster is probably the number 1, and Devontae Parker is the clear 2. But in that 3rd spot is Kendrick Bourne, and New England needs him to show out. And just look at this catch. The interior of the line just gets beat on this play, and Mac is able to get it out right before getting hit. Now, the pass is definitely high, and if there's a back safety there, it's a really risky throw, but it didn't end up mattering. Bourne makes one hell of a catch, going up for it with a defender draped on his back. And then on the next play, Mac Jones was strip sacked. It's a pretty ugly play, but the starting line wasn't even out there anymore. The only starter on the field was Riley Reif, who was, for some reason, playing guard. Mac Jones looked a lot better in those drives with actual starters, which isn't really much of a surprise. But there's still plenty of questions when it comes to the offensive line. Last season, New England had a borderline top 10 line. They finished 11th according to PFF, but it was good. The whole interior is returning. Cole Strange at left guard, Mike Onwenu at right guard, and David Andrews at center. Now, Onwenu just got off of the PUP list, so that alone will immediately be a big bump for the line. And Trent Brown also returns at left tackle after his first year there. The real issue coming into the offseason was really finding someone to play his old spot on the line at right tackle, and it sounds like Riley Reif is going to be the guy to do so. He's been pretty good in the league for a long time, mostly with the Lions and Vikings, but he's definitely towards the end of his pro career. New England really just needs to hope that he has enough left in the tank. The other really questionable unit on the offense is wide receiver, which feels like something I say every season for the past 5 years. Jacoby Myers is gone, and clearly New England didn't care too much to keep him around because they then gave Juju Smith-Schuster the same deal Myers got from Las Vegas. He had a career bounce back with the Chiefs last season. Now it's time to see if he can do it in New England. Devontae Parker is entering his 2nd year with the Patriots. He had 500 yards in 2022, but definitely didn't look like his peak form for Miami. But he was solid. I already brought up Kendrick Bourne, who is the likely 3. No, he probably wouldn't be a top 3 wide receiver on most teams, but he's actually been better in the league than you might think. He went for 600 yards with the 49ers in 2020, and then the next season had 800 100 yards with the Patriots. Bourne is certainly good enough to make plays, so I anticipate Bill O'Brien to dial some stuff up to him this season. The rest of the wide receiver core is still a bit unknown though. Tyquan Thornton was a second rounder last year, but he just hasn't broken out yet and has simply been disappointing. Then at the draft, New England selected 2 wide receivers in the 6th round, Demario Douglas and Kayshon Boutte. Douglas has reportedly been constantly impressing the Patriots at training camp. And then there's Boutte, who I think is kind of a lotto ticket. He was supposed to be a potential first-round pick, and then his last season at LSU just wasn't very good. Some scouts even thought he wouldn't get drafted. Boutte was apparently terrible with the interviews in the pre-draft process, and he honestly should have just stayed at LSU for another year, and originally decided to, but then changed his mind, which I'm sure has nothing to do with the alleged how do I say this without YouTube hating me? A love-making party he attended right ahead of the SEC championship game. Then, of course, just randomly I'm sure, he changed his mind to go into the league. Brian Kelly said he was unavailable for the bowl game, and the female staffer that was allegedly there just happened to resign. Again, all random, I'm sure. The Patriots passing game is definitely still a little bit of an unknown, but honestly, I predict them being more of a run-heavy unit anyway. And that running back room just got a lot more flashy with the addition of Ezekiel Elliott. There are a lot of different takes out there about this move. The Patriots signed Zeke, and yes, he's lost a step, but here's the thing, they're not bringing him in to be their number 1 back, and they're not paying him like one either. And also, yes, even if Elliott is washed now to some degree, he's probably still the best pass blocking running back in football. That alone could make a huge difference for the passing game. Then on the ground, Elliott is going to be the perfect guy to throw in there in those short yardage situations or just down in the red zone. But again, I reiterate this, Zeke is not the main back. It's Ramondre Stevenson, and he should have a really good year. Last season, not only did he rush for 1,000 yards, but he also had 400 receiving yards. Ramondre Stevenson was able to do a lot for the Patriots offense, and now he's actually in a real system because Matt Patricia and Joe Judge aren't there to run their damn circus anymore. Matt Patricia and Joe Judge were in charge of the offensive play calling last year, and wow, was it a complete disaster. Like, it was kind of impressive how bad it was. If one thing needed to change this offseason, it was that, and luckily, it did. The Patriots hired Bill O'Brien to be their new offensive coordinator, and you can already see some of the differences in play calling in the preseason, even if it is just very vanilla. Mac Jones has had more of an opportunity to stretch the field and been able to actually make plays. Not only was literally anything going to be an upgrade over Patricia and Judge, but O'Brien has been very, very good in his career with the offense. He had a great 2 seasons at Alabama, and before that, contrary to what some people might believe, he was actually very successful in Houston. The botching of the history of his time in Houston is bad, and that's mainly because he may be the worst general manager ever, but strictly as a head coach, he was great. And I do think he's going to make the world of a difference for the Patriots this season. If he can somehow get Mac Jones back to the way he looked as a rookie, New England might be back in business. It's really a shame that the Patriots are stuck in the AFC East because they really do have some potential to even look like a wild card team. But with having to play 6 games a year against people in your own division, life is pretty damn rough. But at the very least, getting the offense back on track with Bill O'Brien and Mac Jones returning to some sort of rookie form is a step in the right direction.